What is up, everyone? I'm ATRon The Gamer, and I'm back with episode 2 of How to Play a Wizard. And I've gotten a little bit better since I've made my first video. I really wanted to get that one out initially, though, as it was just like the name of the title suggested. It was my initial impressions of how to play the wizard class. But I'm level 60 now, and I've gotten some better gear, and just obviously I've unlocked all my skills and their runes and abilities. So let's take a look at what I'm using now, and I'll explain why I'm using each one of these moves. So my primary, I've changed it up to Shock Pulse, as it provides a fair amount of damage and it's able to pass through multiple enemies, which is really great in pretty much all difficulties, honestly, as enemies are usually bunched up, so AoE damage is usually really effective, and it also does a fair amount of damage, like I said before, so that's why I'm using Shock Pulse. Moving on to the secondary, Arcane Orb, very similar in it's how it affects enemies. It hits multiple targets and it passes through enemies, is the specific rune that I'm using, Celestial Orb. I like the fact that it does more damage with the Obliteration rune, but I feel like being able to pass through enemies is great when there's a lot of shielding or immune mobs, because that makes them a lot harder. It makes it a lot harder to single target DPS 1, as opposed to just being able to hit all of them. So that's pretty effective in that sense. Let's see what else we got here. I'm using Wave of Force. It's very similar to Frost Nova for me. It's just something to just get the enemies away from you. It's very defensive, even though it's labeled as a force and not under the defensive category. It's basically just a way to create space, and I'm using the Impactful Wave rune, so it allows me to stun the enemies that I hit, as well as push them back even farther, allowing for more space, which I find to be really effective. And let's move on to the next skill, Teleport. I feel this is one of the key skills to use as a wizard. It's just so great to be able to move through space at a rapid rate. A lot of classes aren't capable of doing this, and the wizard just happens to be one of them. Obviously the only class with teleport, but there's other ways to move through space rapidly. So I'm using teleport with Wormhole, so that allows me to get 4 teleports off before the cooldown resets, which is pretty amazing. And I combo this actually with Illusionist. So whenever I suffer more than 15% of my life in a single hit, the cooldowns on Mirror Image and Teleport automatically reset. Obviously I'm not using Mirror Images, which you guys can tell if you're looking at my skills right now. And that's purely because, well, it's really nice for survival, but I kind of like having the Hydra for the DPS, and the Energy Armor is what allows me to live through pretty much everything. So the Hydra, I'm using Venom Hydra. I found this to be one of the most effective ways to damage something, especially since a lot of NPCs and mobs in this game do not move. So that's pretty nifty. The Energy Armor, I just found out about this. Someone just told me about this recently, commented on one of my videos, and was pretty much ashamed that I hadn't even been using this since I was capable of doing so, because this is amazing. This is probably one of the best wizard skills that you can possibly use. Energy Armor plus Force Armor, it basically allows it so that any hit that would kill me, or any hit that would deal more than 35% of damage to my maximum life, would be reduced to deal 35% of my maximum life instead, which it says in the tooltip if you're reading that as well.
I cannot follow you.
It's so amazing. The only thing that you really have to watch out for is damage over time effects. So if you're standing in some crap, you probably need to move. But as far as getting wailed on in one big hit and getting one-shotted, this is going to save you from that. It's actually going to save you from 2 hits. And if you have any way of healing yourself in that period of time where you've taken 2 hits, it'll allow you to take 3, and then obviously more if you just continue to heal. But it's amazing in that it saves you from death like you wouldn't believe. So I would definitely recommend using Energy Armor, Force Armor, as I think it's one of the best skills that a wizard can have. It also combos incredibly nicely with the Teleport and Illusionist rune, as if I've ever suffered more than 15% of my life in a single hit, the cooldowns on Teleport is going to be reset. So Energy Armor allows me to live through that enormous hit, and then I can teleport away if I was in trouble. So Also using Astral Presence and Glass Cannon. Glass Cannon for the damage, Astral Presence for the maximum arcane power and arcane power regeneration. That's the only downside about using energy armor, is that you decrease your maximum arcane power by 20 when it's active. So as you saw, I just went down from 120 to 100, but that's how that goes. It's a trade-off. I feel like it's worth it. I feel like it's allowed me to survive a lot more. Something else I would definitely recommend as a wizard is taking advantage of the Merc. I use the Templar because I feel that his abilities are the most effective in protecting you. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys right now how some of these skills operate in combat situations. I do a decent amount of damage, so most of the stuff is going to die. What the hard stuff really is in Inferno mode is probably the bosses themselves, although they're not, most of them aren't that difficult, but the champions and the rares are probably the hardest to deal with, as they have ridiculous properties like immunity and vortex, comboed with molten, jailer, all kinds of crazy stuff that you have to avoid, otherwise you're gonna die. But basically, a lot of my game is based around running away and dropping Hydra, because Hydra allows me to do damage when I'm not actually attacking, so that I find that to be pretty amazing. And when I get stuck in corners like this, I can actually just teleport out. There are enemies there. If I take a hit here, I should be able to teleport, but I don't think I'm going to need to anyway. Oh, there we go. There's a treasure goblin there. I actually don't want to aggro him yet. So I'm going to hopefully be able to clear all this out before... Oh no, the Hydra hit him. Still we're going for it. Get him. Definitely go for these things whenever you see them. Always seem worth it to me. And teleport allows you to catch up to him also, like if he's running away. Which can be difficult because these guys really like to run. Managed to get him. Only 3 blues. But teleport, obviously, is from what you just saw, allowed me to survive an onslaught of enemies just chasing me. Wave of Force allowed me to get space, like I had mentioned before. The Hydra is constantly doing damage while I'm not doing anything, which is amazing if you ask me. And then Energy Armor allowed me to take hits that probably normally would have killed me, but because I'm using it, obviously I lived. So, to get close to you again, Wave of Force, very effective. Obviously there's other skills you can use too, but this is just the combo that I've come up with that I personally like. That hit probably would have killed me otherwise, had I not had energy armor with force armor on. But yeah, obviously I'm a little bit more, I have a bit more survivability with that skill. But this is essentially a lot of this is my technique in killing these enemies. It's a lot of kiting, a lot of running away. You really can't afford to get hit as a wizard, and it's just a good way to go about not getting hit. Nice.
Health returns.
Always gotta watch out for those exploding things, even though there wasn't one there. But that will get me killed. But that is pretty much going to do it for episode 2 of How to Play a Wizard, everyone. I might change up my build in the near future. Definitely going to mess around with this for a while and wait to see what kind of changes are made to the Wizard class. If you have any suggestions on what you think I should use skill-wise, I'm definitely open to hearing it, so feel free to let me know about that. But if you haven't already, please subscribe to me on my YouTube channel, and you can follow me on Twitter at ATRon The Gamer. Hope to see everyone next time for episode 3. Until then, later everyone.